grace on earth, no virtue. I see only pride. Oh, do what you can.
You're listening to WZMB Zombie Radio. Your personal soundtrack to the end of the world. Sorry about that. I just couldn't help myself. The end of the Christmas season, and I needed to put things into check. Make sure we knew exactly who we were and what the fuck we were doing. And what is that? We are surviving this nightmare. Yeah. Hey, looks like Zombie Radio has a caller. This is Zombie Radio. What's your name and what you got for me? Speak. Speak.
I'm Hewlett Fen-Chang. My two college friends and I got caught up in one of those damn zombie apocalypses. Typical.
And which zombie apocalypse did you get caught up in? Was it the Universal Studios zombie apocalypse? The Disney version, or some odd porn take on the Z-Poc? I kid the Zombie Radio Nation. We all know there is only one zombie apocalypse. What can Zombie Radio do for ya, Hewlett?
Well, these zombies act like a wolf pack. They had a zombie leader who had to fight to gain that position, but he was able to have the choicest parts of the kill. He was then killed by a living man who thinks himself to be the hand of karma. He is now leading the zombies to fresh kills. He believes that it is his job to rid the world of human evil. Add to that the fact that these zombies can tell the living from the dead by the smell of fear. That's why they don't kill him. He doesn't fear death because he believes himself to be a good man. I, on the other hand, am scared out of my pants by this necrambulistic horde. That's why they're after us. Can Zombie Radio find a way to make us not afraid of these foul beasts devoid of soul?
I guess if I could offer the Zombie Radio Nation one word of advice, I'd have to quote Franklin D. Roosevelt and say, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Pretty tall advice, considering many of us have looked into the gaping maw of death and pissed ourselves in fright. But it's like I've mentioned to another caller, who was convinced the undead navigated the landscape by scent. If they can't smell you, they can't find you. If they can't find you, they can't bash your skull onto the pavement to get to your juiciest of treats.
Being Asian, one might think I'd know how to meditate, find my center, and attain fearlessness through oneness with the universe or something. But one would be wrong, and perhaps a bit racist. You know, now that you mention it, I don't think I've ever seen any of these zombies eat brains. It seems too difficult to get to for them. The leader of the pack usually eats the buttocks, while the rest gets the limbs next, leaving the entrails for the omegas of the pack. I suppose the most lowly or the most hungry might endeavor to assert enough energy to crack a skull, but I've never witnessed it. I did see one rip the jaw off an old lady once. I guess that would take a bit of doing, but since I've never personally tried it, that would only be an assumption. Holy Chrismac, what the hell am I talking about? I'm starting to freak myself out. You have a cardboard tree deodorant handy? Maybe some cologne?
Maybe there's some twisted hierarchy within the zombie's social structure that dictates the most elevated in the community gets to eat ass. You are on to something, though. In the Western culture, we have all been too fond of the shower. Some people taking 3 to 4 a day. Maybe the key is to allow yourself to ripen a bit and smell more like the world around us. A sort of olfactory blending. If you can't be heard or smelled, you're safe. Time to cover yourself in dust and mud and disappear from the undead.
Okay, now, come to think of it, we did spend the night in a cemetery precisely for that reason. We figured that the dead wouldn't go to a place full of the dead to find some tasty living flesh upon which to feast. Oh, and as to your point about showers, there hasn't been running water for quite some time now. We also just happen to live in the desert in Marble Cliffs, Arizona, so there are more lying bodies of victims than standing bodies of water. Unfortunately, there are more standing bodies of victims than lying bodies. Also, unfortunately, being Asian, I don't sweat very much, and even when I do, it doesn't stink. I think it's all the rice I eat. And yes, I can say that without being racist because it's true for me. On the other hand, my friend Mbu is half African American, and my other friend Desmond is white. They each smell like a cheese even the French wouldn't eat. Even so, the zombies seem to recognize the smell of fear on us. I think that it started out as a survival mechanism. It might have been a pheromone to help warn others of the tribe of potential danger. Of course, now it's just a dinner bell to the zombies. They've been reduced to their basest instincts. Their sense of smell and hearing have become keener, and they have better night vision.
So we just need to find something to cancel out the smell of the human pheromone, and we have the perfect zombie repellent. Of course, that'll suck the life out of the porn industry, but then I think that ship has already sailed.
Yep, industry, government, electricity, water, cable, internet, fried chicken establishments, all out the window. Ironically, I can't watch The Walking Dead on TV, but I'm not missing it. You know, I've seen grass overgrowing all over the place. Everything that was once nicely manicured and pruned is now becoming more natural and lush. Nature is taking back what we were under the impression that we owned. Listen to me. What do I think I am, some kind of urban Confucius? I'm just saying that everything is different now. The ecosystem can now restore balance to the planet without further human interruption. There I go again. I'm sorry, I've just been hearing this sort of stuff all my life. My dad is a pastor. That's how me and Umbu met. His dad's a pastor too. Well, anyway, our little group here now includes this crazy lady we met along the way named Helen. She's a paranoid schizophrenic who is under the mistaken impression that we are Martians who are going to bring her into the heavens in our spaceship. Not the choices of apocalypse companions, but with humanity at an all-time low, we don't have much of a choice.
You are right there, Hewlett. And thank you for calling into Zombie Radio. You made a number of good points. Although I would have to wonder if you really don't smell. I've had people claim their shit doesn't stink before. But maybe, just maybe, you're speaking the truth. I don't know, what do you think, Zombie Radio Nation? Is it really just a matter of covering ourselves with dirt and mud to hide from the undead? Are we all going to be living in crypts? Sounds a little creepy, but I'm sure there are plenty of you out there who are all into that kind of funky. Anyway, keep those calls coming in, Zombie Radio Nation. I need to hear from you. Makes my job a little easier, and it makes everybody out there realize that we can, in fact, survive. Speaking of survival, I'm gonna play you a song that has survived the test of time like so much French cheese. Thank you for reminding me of that, Mr. Hewlett. The song is by that classic of classics, Led Zeppelin. The song is called When the Levee Breaks. Kick it old school, Mr. Zeppelin. Alright, Zombie Radio Nation, that was a little bit of fun, brought to you by the magic of technology. Anyway, we're back to apocalyptic survival tips, because I want to help you survive. This little tip was inspired by a fairly good zombie film called World War Z. There was a moment in that film where the dashing Brad Pitt took phone books and other various and sundry bits of cardboard and duct taped them to his arm and his legs to prevent the zombies from chewing on his skin. Because we all know one bite and it's good night. I think I need to patent that saying. Anyway, I have taken that idea and, well, improved upon it, as we all always need to be doing. Instead of cardboard, I have opted for, ta-da! If you're unfamiliar with this is an old mountain bike tire. See, I'm a mountain biker and I've got tons of these laying around. What I've done is I've taken these, which are called tin snips. They can cut through just about anything, including, as the name would imply, tin. So what I did was I took the full tire and I measured out what I needed for my forearm here and cut the piece off. Now, as you can see, the shape is a little rounded, and in some applications this might be a little difficult to maneuver, but you get the idea. So you'll probably have some clothes on. You won't be bare-armed here. You will place that right here, right in the meaty part of your forearm, so that when the zombies go to attack you or you're trying to push them off with your forearm, they can't bite through this. There's no way a zombie can bite through this. This is strong rubber. Now, how do you apply it? Well, you can use the world's greatest invention, duct tape, and tape the crap out of it. Or, if you want to be a little more clean, you can take a wire tie. I like wire ties. Wire ties are handy for just about everything. You'll have to get a pretty sizable one. You might have to put two of them together. I think you all know how to put two wire ties together. You just slip one into the other. There you go. Extremely large wire ties. So for those of you with very large forearms or very large calves, that might be necessity. Anyway, put this through here, and thankfully with this tread here, these wire ties aren't going to slip. Now, the problem with wire ties is you're going to have to tighten them down pretty tight to keep them from slipping. However, I have a little trick here. You can put it on here, slip this baby on, zip that wire tie tight, and then, with our old friend duct tape, take a little piece of duct tape, tape it to this portion of the wire tie, and then tape that to your clothing. It won't slide around and you won't have to tighten the wire tie down so tight that you lose circulation to your hand. Because you can't do that, because we all need these little digits to survive. We all know what it's like when your hand falls asleep. You know, when you go to sleep and you're laying on your hand, you wake up and you can't feel it. Well, if a zombie's attacking you and your hand's asleep and you go reach out to grab him and you can't squeeze your hand, you're going to be in a heap of trouble. Anyway, this apocalyptic survival tip is brought to you by Michelin. I'm kidding. It's not brought to you by anything. It's brought to you by me and the Zombie Radio Nation. Be safe. Be smart. I love you, babies.